You know, there's a lot of videos out there asking, could Batman solve the Kira case? Could the Scooby-Doo gang solve the Kira case? And none are asking the big question, could I and you, the listener, solve the Kira case? Let's find out. So if you like Death Note, you've probably seen this genre of video essay. And I think it's time, after having reviewed them all, that we ask ourselves, since our greatest minds can't solve this case, how far can the average person go to solving the Kira case? And I'll use myself, a person with a below sentient level IQ, as our test dummy. Will justice prevail no matter what? Let's find out. But before this, if we're going to take on the identity of L, we need a Hot Topic costume change. So the scenario is this. We have watched all of Death Note and rewatch it once every 3 or so years when the nostalgic depression hits. We watch the occasional fun YouTube video. We watched the entire abridged series when it was still up. And we've even watched at least 80% of that Death Note retrospective. We know everything about the Kira case, and we're starting from the same place L started, except that we know Light is Kira. So what's the challenge? To catch him and prove that it's him. Because L knew Light was Kira too, but could we, using our godly knowledge, prove to everyone else that Light is Kira better than L did? For the plot, let's say that due to a mistake in paperwork or something, Interpol hires us by mistake instead of L, and it's too much paperwork to fix this mistake, so before we know it, we're on the first plane to Japan. Thankfully for us, we got a C in our 6th year of Japanese class, and that makes us legally fluent by American government standards in the Japanese language. So the first thing I try to do is bring a friend with me. Everybody needs a Watson. But finding a friend might be hard for the average person, including L. So, for the purposes of this thought experiment, I'll be flying solo. Which, I'm just realizing now makes this a lot more difficult, because L had Watery, but we'll burn that bridge after we cross it. I'm also just realizing that L has a lot more money than we do. As being the representative of the average person here, in my bank account currently, there is, I won't show you, $43 in my checking account, and you wanna know what's in my savings. So, but either way, we still have the trust of the Japanese police. The same trust that the Japanese police puts in L, we have his name, at least, so we should probably immediately start trying to take advantage of that. Oh my god, this is actually going to be so much harder than I thought it was going to be. Okay, we land and get set up in our hotel, which I assume Interpol gets for us. In the beginning of this, we might just be mooching off Interpol for a minute. We also don't have Watari to go to the headquarters for us in like his like leather outfit. And I also don't know how voice filters work, so that's going to be hard to set up. I think we should just call them and ask to speak to Chief Executive Soichiro Yagami and see where we go from there. Okay, so I thought about it, and I'm realizing that we can't just call and be like, hey, yeah, it's it's L, trust. So maybe we have Interpol set up like a call for us just to get the conversation started. Okay, so they do that. We're talking to Chief Yagami, and we know this guy. He's Light's dad. He literally birthed Kira. But we also remember what happened when it was just suggested that his son was Kira. So we can't just come out of the gate and say that. We gotta be a bit subtle with it. I think starting with the Lindell Taylor stunt that the original L did worked out pretty well for him. And we already know that Kira is in the Kanto region of Japan, so let's just ask them to do that too. I don't know how, where they found Lindell Taylor, but like, surely if we like propose the idea, they'll be like, oh, we know where that guy is. And after that, hopefully it goes the same way. Everyone probably still does the same dramatic monologues about how smart we are. L, she's the greatest detective in the world, but I just can't get behind her methods. But she proved that Kira's real, that Kira's in the Kanto region of Japan, and maybe everyone becomes dumber in the average person universe. But after that, I think it's smooth sailing from here, because my goal is to hard rush for when we put cameras in the Yagami house. My whole plan revolves around the cameras. I think we got this. Okay, but before then, we know Light is getting data from the police, and he's also trying to get the police to distrust L. And we pull out our copies of the manga to try and remember what Light is doing at this part of the story. It's mostly just like him experimenting and trying to bait us, which I guess we shouldn't fall for. I think we definitely don't send in the FBI agents because we don't want Ray to die. He's beautiful. And everyone gets mad at us because he dies. But actually, maybe that's good. Yeah, no, fuck it. Let's send the FBI agents in. Sorry, Ray and Naomi. Let's just let everything play out the same way so that we can get to the creation of the Kira task force. It'll be a little awkward because Ide, or whatever his name is, still rants about us and how he doesn't like our methods. But we don't have any methods. We haven't really done anything at this point anyway, aside from like let Ray die, which is kind of messed up. Also because L questioned each of the task force members to make sure they're not Kira. We don't actually know how he questioned them or what he said to them. So I'm just gonna be like, hey, are you Kira? That's cool, that's cool. Yeah, me neither. Lol. Um, Thoughts on apples? Okay, I just realized we can actually Wizard of Oz this because they're still impressed with the Lindell Taylor stunt and like the history of Elle that we've kind of stolen. And honestly, I'm pretty impressed with it too. And thankfully, since Elle never showed his face, we can probably just like act weird and mysterious, and they'll think we're the same super genius that Interpol hired originally. I've like memorized most of the dialogue anyway. Like, we got this. In the original plot, Elle and the task force stay up all night and most of the next day talking about theories about Kira. But for us, we already know what's up, and we don't really have anything to discuss, and we don't know enough Japanese to discuss with them. So I'll just make sure to say that justice will prevail no matter what, or whatever, and probably just send them home that night. And so it's a few days later, we're skipping ahead, because it's time to implement the new plan with the cameras. We get the ball rolling when the task force is looking at the Ray tapes. Copying L, I'll be like, oh my god, Ray, he looks like he's trying to say something. What could he be looking at? I know, guys. Let's investigate the only people who he was tailing, specifically Deputy Director Kitamura and the chief's houses. And you know what? Maybe we don't even need to investigate the deputy director's houses, maybe just the chief's. Specifically, your son, Chief Yagami. And he'll be mad, but it's worth it for the plan. Because wait, who actually installed the cameras into the Yagami household? Cause it couldn't have been the police, and it couldn't have been Interpol, which means it was Watery, wasn't it? God damn it. We don't Is Watery like, did he do like most of the heavy lifting in this show? Oh my god. Okay, new plan, new strategy. Fuck the cameras. We don't need cameras. That's weird. We don't need to watch Light. Anyway, we already watched the show. That's basically the cameras. We don't need them. Nothing was proven anyway when the cameras were there. Light, he just eats a bag of chips. We can save him some money. Let's sneak into the entrance exams where we're still on track to fix L's greatest mistake, which is dying. We just need to get a perfect score so we can introduce ourselves to Light. Oh my god. Okay, so my class rank in high school was 420, which is funny, but let me inform you that there were only 422 students in my graduating class, and then that just kind of makes it depressing. So, um, new plan, because I don't like our chances here. Okay, so new plan. I'm pulling out the notebook. New, new plan. We get the death. We'll table that. But before we kill Light to solve this case, I have a new plan. We just follow him home because we know where he lives. So, in our legally fluent Japanese, we just can follow him and ask Light first if we can communicate in English, and then we'll tell him, "Hey, I'm L." And hopefully that still scares him in the same way it did originally. And it's here that I feel like we really got to switch things up a bit, or else we're going to have to play tennis with this guy, and all the other university students will point and laugh at us and say that we're the student who got the lowest score ever. But I've used the entirety of my single brain cell to come up with a new master plan. So, Misa's about to appear. That's like a canon event. Her and Rem are basically the sole reason that Light defeats L. No shade, Light. So let's just send out a manhunt for Misa. It shouldn't be hard. She's like a celebrity. So let's just send her to somewhere else. And if she doesn't want to go because she wants to meet Kira, let's just arrest her. Fuck it. Conspiracy to commit murder or something. Maybe we can even set up cameras in her house too. Okay, so after Googling, Japan doesn't have a law against conspiracy to commit murder. Throw out the plan. New plan. New plan. We don't arrest Misa. I don't really even know if we could get away with that. We kind of barely got away with the camera thing, and we still don't know Japanese that well. So instead, go with the plan to put cameras in her house, and then when she starts to send those tapes to the news station, we'll water resets up the cameras. Okay, so I'm starting to think that Misa might be inevitable. So we need to catch Light in like 7 days, I think, before she appears. Okay, crazy idea. Crazier idea, but I'm getting kind of desperate because I kind of came into this with a lot of confidence. What if we just tell Light that we know he's Kira and we like hook up a wire to ourselves, and when Light's like, "Huh, you think I'm Kira?" We say like we're like, "Who's that gangly fella you got behind you?" And maybe that will freak him out and get him to admit something. Yeah. Okay, guys, I think we're cooking here. Like, there's no script for this, so I'm going to need some time to think this out. But genuinely, if we just pull like the craziest card ever, like, "Hey, is that Ryuk there?" I think we got this. I don't know how we get out of that. Okay, so I thought about it. Light definitely would just keep his composure. He would like enter his mind palace and say something like, "Does this girl really see Ryuk? No, she must have overheard me talking to him. I was too careless. I'll ask a simple question to see if she's trying to get at me." And then say like, "Haha, well, can you point to this Ryuk for me? Because I don't see anything." That's my Light impression, by the way. And because we can't see Ryuk, we're kind of screwed. And then you think it's not also just about his confession. We need to see him do it. Like, L had a confession from Higuchi. He had an explanation. But then he was like, "Well, I need to see him do it." Wait, bitch. We know where the Death Note is. While Light's at school, we can just go and get it. I didn't think about that. Or, okay, I also think Light would be freaked out and definitely know we're L. I mean, he'd probably be like, "Is this girl just playing dumb? Or was she ranked 420 in her high school graduating class?" I think he would definitely not want to work with us at the task force anymore. We kind of blew that angle. And Misa's about to appear too. I think we're going to get remmed, dude. It's not looking good. Okay, let's retrace the steps in our flawless plan. Because I feel like we have all the puzzle pieces, but just for like the wrong puzzle. So step one was we did the Lindell Taylor thing. That was pretty good. It's been kind of downhill from there because after that, Walter kind of just hard carries L. So we had to skip a lot of that. Ray dies. And then we win. We fucking win. We're so fucking back. Okay. Rewind what I said. I'll just make sure to say that justice will prevail no matter what or whatever, and probably just send them home that night. If Chief Yagami goes home that night, that means that Mrs. Yagami never sends Light to deliver clean clothes to him. Which means Light never goes to the station to meet Naomi. Which means Naomi doesn't have trouble contacting the task force because all their cell phones are still on. Which means Naomi brings undeniable proof that Light is Kira. I did it. We did it. We proved that average people like us can do anything. Weaponized incompetence wins. I think today we successfully proved that with the power of hindsight, the average person, and more specifically, I, myself, could solve the Kira case and bring Light to justice by like chapter 8. Great work. High five. Cool. And if you're still watching, high five to you too. We did something truly great today. We proved that anyone can make a difference in this world. You don't need millions of dollars, a genius IQ. You just need me and you. Thank you. Okay, bye. Bye. Light, hold that L. Bye.